Welcome to the Self-Awareness and Self-Compassion Podcast, formerly known as the Full Spectrum Feeling Podcast. I'm your host, Blaise Schwaller, life coach, mom, and former tattoo artist. I help people heal their past, speak their truth, and love the lives that they're living now. Join me here every week for conversations on how to live an imperfect but fully engaged life that embraces all the feels so that you can stretch into your best life while enjoying the you that's here right now. Hello, everybody. This week, I want to talk about mothering and nurturing because it's May and Mother's Day just happened. And it made me think about how we nurture ourselves, how we nurture our dreams and our ideas, and how we show up in our life. And I want to say that now that I'm a mom, it's like you get the other side of the picture, right? Where you realize, wow, like mothering and nurturing is showing up for another person no matter what, and showing up even when you're not at your best, and giving what you have available, even if it's not a lot or even if it's nothing, because you care. And do we do that often enough in areas of our lives that we don't consider as important as raising children? And I think everybody has a different answer for that. But I know that my ability to show up for myself varies from day to day, and it varies from week to week and month to month and year to year. And that's okay. And I know yours does as well. But it's still such a beautiful thing that we have this capacity inside of us to care and to be able to take care of people, of animals, of creatures, of our bodies, and of ourselves. So what we ask of ourselves is often just, to make it through the day. And, we try to do better than that for kids. And it makes me go, wow, could we try to do better than that for ourselves as well? And what makes us not do it? Like, when do we give up and say, I just don't have enough to give? I think a lot of us have so many things that we care about. We are pulled in so many different directions that it's difficult. Like, we feel like it's hard to have enough energy to take care of everything and everybody. And yeah, and that feels super, super true. And I know that for myself as well, I don't have infinite energy. And I talk about this with my clients as well, is that it's so important for us to regain energy and refill back up. And it's something that I'm teaching my kid as well, is that you need to fill up to get energy. You can't just spend it all. Like it comes from somewhere. So we have to take care of our bodies. We have to take care of our minds. We need to take care. If we don't, then we get cranky, then we're not showing up as well, and it kind of snowballs into every other area of our life. We have less and less energy to give. We show up as a less stellar version of ourselves, and the decisions that we make suffer because it gets harder to make decisions. So decision fatigue is totally a thing. Making less decisions is awesome if we're able to, but that comes with having a clear idea of what our priorities are. And so when it comes to having the capacity to nurture, we realize that we need to take time for ourselves and give ourselves enough care that we can give that. So I've noticed for myself, like there is a level of burnout that happens when too many plates are spinning. And I can notice, I very clearly see it happen. And I know most of us do when we realize, wow, I'm being really snappy about stupid stuff. My ability to rebound from disappointment is super small. My ability to cope with any kind of impediment is very tiny. And this happens because there's an accumulation of disappointments or an accumulation of stuff that just isn't getting done or isn't getting done fast enough, or we feel like we have more things that we need to do, and we're feeling stressed about where we're putting all that energy. It's funny because I've noticed that it happens in advance as well as after spending the energy. So if I know that I need to spend energy somewhere else, I can get angry about having to do stuff earlier in the day because I feel like it's taking away from what I need to do later. And it's so human. It's so normal. And then we have judgments. Like I'll judge myself and be like, God, you're being a really shitty person, Blaise. Like, what the hell? It doesn't need to affect you this much. You don't need to be that upset because, the radio was too loud and this person cut you off in traffic and we didn't get out on time. And then all of these little things add up. And ultimately, I could take the wider perspective if I really was able to in that moment, which is to zoom out and go, none of this really matters. We're still going to get to school on time. Everybody's fed and we're okay. But in the moment, it just feels like, man, nothing's going according to plan. And this isn't the awesomeness that I wanted today to be, or tomorrow or next year. In order to get back to being the me that I want to be, the me that's more compassionate, that is able to roll with the punches, who isn't upset about everything, it requires care. And it requires giving care to myself when I'm the shittiest version of myself possible, which sometimes is hard to do. It's hard to give myself nice things when I feel like I'm an asshole. So, oh my gosh, I guess what we'll talk about today is the importance of doing it anyway, and how when we are at our worst, that's when we deserve the most nurturing. And it's just like we see with our kids, like when they're at their worst, that's when they need the most love. It's not when they need the least. We don't yell at them more because they're being awful. We realize like, oh, they're being awful because they're completely melting down. They don't have enough energy. We need to just, triage that, make it better, and then see if we can build up some reserves so that this doesn't happen again. It's funny because as you get into the routines of your life and in adulthood, it's like a constant triage situation where it just seems like there's never enough energy and there's never enough time to plan. But I would offer that we should make that time, and that taking the time to plan, even though it seems like it's a waste because there's so many things that we should be doing, having the plan makes everything easier. Being able to look at it all and go, oh, some of the stuff that I thought was really important is actually completely ridiculous and I don't even care about that much. So why am I wasting so much energy and stress on it? To me, zooming out and taking a look at my life and noticing where I'm judging myself and getting really anxious because of my expectations of what others might expect, that's a big one for me, is like, what's the perception around me and how am I impacting all these other people? And sometimes if I look at that, I go, actually, I'm probably not in any way impacting them as much as I fear I am because everybody's living their own crazy lives and they're busy with their own stuff and they're not noticing me flailing about. They're noticing themselves flailing about. So calm down. It's fine. Show up and do your best. And what is the important thing that needs to happen today? Taking care of ourselves is so much about choosing kindness for ourselves and realizing nobody can do everything. We just can't. There's too much to do. We can only do what we can in this one moment, and this moment is precious. And if we're not feeling capable of doing anything in this moment, that means we absolutely need, deserve, and should have rest and nourishment and something to fill our energy tanks and make us feel good. Honestly, feeling good is the fuel of the world. When people feel good, we do a lot of stuff. We have so much energy. Things happen well. We're nicer. We give niceness to other people. That fuels them up. They have nice energy, and it just keeps going. Things fall apart when we get harried and we feel like there's no way to succeed. And as I look at my relationship with my daughter, I realize so much of what I believe having a good relationship with her is setting her up to understand what success and failure is, and for her to know that failure isn't something to be ashamed of. It's a part of life. It doesn't need to devastate you emotionally. That success is, being a good human, like being kind, having fun, connecting with people, taking care of your things. That's a big one with us right now, is like, if you get something, you need to nurture it and take care of it. So learning that aspect of appreciation for what you have and appreciation for your opportunities. But I don't demand of her too much extra. Like, the big thing right now is she has to do extra reading after school. So that was interesting. We had to find the motivation and like what would be fun about reading for her. But success really is just figuring out, how do we make things joyful? If you need to do something, how can we find the angle at which it makes you feel happy to do so rather than obliged to do so? And I wonder for all of us too, if we are able to look at our lives and figure out the angle from which we feel happy to do things versus obliged to do them, how much better we feel about all of it. And it's a good question. Like, what is it about the things on my list? Why do I feel I have to do them? And what would be different if I felt like glad to do it? And it's such a silly, simple question, but I think it's definitely worth asking. It makes things feel lighter. And it also will point out if there's no joy in an activity, if there's no purpose in it, then is it actually important at all? Or is it absolutely not? And why am I then giving it energy for no good reason? Like, my energy is precious. There's only so much. I will use it well. So choosing how to use our energy well, it takes a lifetime. Like, we all find ourselves, I don't want to say the victim of, but the victim of choosing poorly and of maybe saying yes to too many things that seemed maybe like a decent idea at the time, where we thought it wouldn't take that much energy. But I find the most resentment and exhaustion builds from saying yes to things that I didn't really want to spend my energy on, or making it even seem like it would be nothing for me to do something that actually is taking a lot from me. So part of being, I guess, a good parent to myself is allowing myself to be more truthful about what those limits are. What could I actually want? What do I want to see happen? What am I willing to do? How much energy do I actually feel that I have? And how would I like to spend it? Because we all have gotten those invitations, like, come to this event, do this, volunteer here, whatever. And you're like, oh, like, we have the belief, like, oh, a good person would say yes and do that. And the other half is like, oh God, I don't want to do that at all. And we have to make that call every day and have sound judgment about what will make us happiest in the long run. What do we believe about ourselves? Why are we doing the things that we do? Why are we doing it? And it's so fun to wonder, like, what would be different if I had started asking these questions of myself way earlier in life? Why am I doing the things that I'm doing? And have been really honest about it. I think I did start asking those questions maybe in high school. Like, why am I working so hard on this class? What do I really think I'm going to get out of it? And making decisions about where I put my energy and my time and my focus. But we need to keep doing that, not just when we're children, but well into our adulthood. And we look at our businesses and our careers and our relationships and our lives, and we go, okay, how am I using my energy? Am I depleting it, or am I getting energy back from these activities? Are there things that I'm willing to put energy into that don't fill me up, but get energy from somewhere else to fuel that? And how can I do it? And I think that's just smart. I think we all need to know what it is that fills us up and make space for that every day, not just once a week. I think sometimes we want to, tough it out or be like, oh, I'm too tough. I don't need that much. You do need that much. You need every day something that makes you feel good about being alive. If you feel good about being alive, you're going to have energy for all the stuff that's important. When you stop having energy, it's because you haven't gotten anything out of being alive. Like, it's just exhaustion and demands and things that make you feel bad. If that's where you are, man, hugs to you. I get it. I definitely have gone down that road many a time. But it's okay to notice that that's happened and recalibrate, recenter, and say, today I'm going to be a great nurturer of myself and of my dreams and of my hopes and of what I want and wanted for myself and for my life. And it's okay to be selfish, I guess I'd say that in that way. Sometimes I think, taking care of myself and scheduling massage or something like that seems selfish. Why would I spend time and money on that when I could just, keep going and not do that? But I find it's not as selfish as it seems, because when I get that, when I'm feeling better, when I have acknowledged myself and had gratitude for myself and actually spent my resources and time on myself, I have more to give. It comes back way bigger than what I spend in terms of time and money and effort in setting that up. It is worth it. If it's reading books, if it's going to the beach, if it's going outside in the sunshine, having flowers, just eating something nice that you wanted to have, whatever it is that makes you feel joyful to have that experience, oh man, I want you to do it. I wish that for you. Please take care of yourself and allow that care to grow, to be able to hold space for everything else that you also want to nurture, because it doesn't come from nowhere. I guess that's the whole point of this podcast today, is that energy doesn't come from nowhere. It exists, but we have to take it from one place and move it to another. So you do have to take some back in order to give some. And I think it's important to keep that balance, to recognize that giving is great and also receiving is great. And it's for some reason difficult for most of us to receive. But I wish for you to become an excellent receiver of good things, and for you to receive all of the love and the care and the appreciation and the nurturing that you so deserve, that you would give to a child and that you should give to yourself too. My friends, have an excellent week. Let me know if you have a ritual or something that you do that helps you refuel and recharge and recenter after you recognize that you've been derailed and life has gotten really hard. Let's share with each other and give each other more awesome ideas on how to lift each other up and enjoy life. I will see you next week. Have a wonderful night. Thanks so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and share it with someone you love, and leave us a review. You can learn more and get some self-compassion tips and tricks by visiting coachwithblaze.com, where you can sign up to get my free booklet on overcoming anxiety, overwhelm, exhaustion, and burnout. I'm sending you so much appreciation and love, and I'll see you next time.